Hi, I'm John Davis, and this is MotorWeek. Join us for our micro machine with big character, the Mini Cooper S. Then we'll build boost in a 4-way turbo sports car showdown. We're bringing you a play-by-play on the latest Kia Sportage Hybrid, and we'll solve the mystery of why new tires might disappoint, plus a dirt stomping quick spin. To come drive with us next.
MotorWeek, 45 years steering you in the right direction.
MotorWeek is proudly sponsored by Auto Value and Bumper to Bumper, a nationwide network of stores and shops providing major brand auto and truck parts and service from coast to coast and in your local community. Service is the difference. We get it. Learn more at autovalue.com and bumpertobumper.com.
We're Tire Rack. We test tires and share our results. We stock over 1 million tires. We offer multiple installation options. We do this because we believe tires matter. TireRack.com.
While the Mini Cooper has certainly grown in size since it was reborn for 2002, it has still been able to maintain both its cuteness and playfulness. Well, an all-new 4th-gen Cooper arrived for 2025 with upgrades in tech and refinement. So let's find out if it's still up for a play date or if it's all business now. Yes, the Mini Cooper has steadily increased most dimensions, but what hasn't changed with this redesigned 2025 model is that it still puts smiles on our faces every time we slip behind the wheel. We were super excited to see the rebirth of the Mini Cooper back in 2002 when new owner BMW was looking to latch on to some of the VW Beetle nostalgia that was sweeping the globe. We liked the rebooted Mini so much, I actually bought one of the first ones to make it to our shores and still own it. This 4th generation Cooper hardtop 2-door is almost a foot longer than that 2002. But as it has grown, proportions and silhouette have remained the same, so it looks as charming as always. And to keep you from noticing the growth spurt, Mini seems to have doubled down on brand hallmarks, exaggerating the octagonal grille and matrix taillights, plus more customization options than ever. Hardtop 2-door is the name, but for practical purposes, it's a 3-door hatchback, with a liftgate hiding 8.9 cubic feet of cargo space, 34.4 with rear seatbacks folded. For us here in the U.S., no more 3-cylinder engine. Now the choice is between a standard 161 horsepower 2-liter turbo 4 or this Cooper S's 201 horsepower version with 221 pound-feet of torque. Inside, it may be more of a minimalist design than before and perhaps a bit more upscale than cute or playful, but it's still quite an immersive experience with ambient lighting to match your Mini experience mode. Lots of funky materials remain, and the center infotainment screen goes full circle touchscreen and now sits in front of the dash rather than being integrated into it. The new Mini Interaction Unit is not the most intuitive to use, and it also includes all driver info with no gauges behind the wheel. But a head-up display is available if you want to keep your eyes looking forward. Up front, it feels even roomier than before, though rear seat space remains very limited. Below the round screen is a small control pod that houses the start switch and a toggle for gear selection. It still feels like you're getting away with something when you're driving this go-kart around on the street, feeling quick and nimble in just about every situation. No doubt a few enthusiasts will bemoan the fact that a manual transmission is no longer available, and it does take some of the engagement out of the process. But we have no real complaints on the operation of the 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. And the Cooper S suspension doesn't seem quite as harsh as it once was, providing a much better balance of comfort and performance. It still felt absolutely planted through our handling course too. No body roll to speak of, and grip was plentiful as we were absolutely flying through the cones with no understeer or oversteer. Steering was quick, responding immediately to even the slightest inputs. Yes, even with some weight gain, Mini has worked its magic once again. It's a bit less of a thrill ride in straight line runs as it doesn't particularly enjoy being launched hard. We battled torque steer and some hesitation to get going, but it did become more lively as we wound it up, and 6.4 seconds to 60 is quick enough. Automatic shifts were fast and firm throughout the 14.7 second quarter mile, finishing at 98 miles per hour. Engine noise was subdued, but there was some pleasantly aggressive sounding popping and crackling through the exhaust. Braking runs were extremely consistent with smooth, controlled stops, only 105 feet from 60 miles per hour. Government fuel economy ratings for a two-door S are 28 city, 39 highway, and 32 combined. We averaged a good 33.6 miles per gallon of premium. Cooper hardtop two-door pricing starts at $29,945, with the S at $35,595. Max Fun Mini Footprint has been the mantra from the beginning. And while that footprint has gotten bigger, the 2025 Mini Cooper has also only gotten better. Replacing worn-out tires on your vehicle is always a good idea, but that fresh rubber may also come with an unexpected dip in fuel economy and range. Well, Greg Carlos is here to demystify the ins and outs of rolling resistance with a little help from some friends.
The condition and type of tire you choose to put on your vehicle has a huge impact on fuel economy, safety, performance, and longevity. Now today, I'm joined by two experts who really know the nitty-gritty about where the rubber meets the road. Eric, you run an independent tire testing group, and Scott, you're a research engineer who actually studied the effects of tire friction on fuel economy. So what did you find?
Thanks, Craig. Well, yeah, so tire friction or rolling resistance describes how much energy it takes for your tire to roll down the road on your car. As your tire wears and its tread blocks decrease in thickness, the tire friction actually goes down, so your EV actually gets a little bit more range. But it happens gradually, so most drivers probably don't notice it.
You know, we found that customers, if they replace the exact same tire on their EV when it's worn versus brand new, they notice a significant difference in the range of their vehicle. When we've done testing, it's about 9% that we noticed a difference between new and used.
Now, when we're talking about hybrids, plug-in hybrids, EVs, we always hear the term low rolling resistance tires. Is there an actual definition for that?
There's actually not an objective test in the United States yet, although it is being worked on. That designation is really just a manufacturer differentiating tires in their tire line that are more efficient compared to others that have another focus point, such as performance.
Now, this Solterra behind us is a battery electric vehicle, and Eric, you've brought 6 different types of tires that could go on it. Can you kind of give me the rundown?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have the first tire there, the Bridgestone product that came original on the vehicle when it was new. And this vehicle was developed specifically for it based on what the manufacturer of the vehicle wanted the attributes to be. And low rolling resistance definitely is going to be a major priority so they can get the longest range possible when they're advertising the range of their vehicle. The second product here from Hankook, this product is actually designed and engineered specifically for electric vehicles overall, but not specifically the Solterra. So this product will give you lower rolling resistance than a normal tire, but it also can actually give you other performance characteristics that maybe the manufacturer wants you to have, which maybe is longer life, maybe a little bit difference as far as wet capability, those type of things.
Now, I see there's foam in here. Is that something that's standard on all EV tires, or are we seeing this more for sound deadening?
Well, I'm glad you asked about that. That's actually a feature that most electric vehicle tires have, but not all of them. Basically, that's designed to absorb the sound that the cavity of the tire may emit back into the cabin of the vehicle.
So I recognize the tire treads on these. These are all weathers. These are full-on winter tires, and then we have all terrains up there. Scott, I mean, what does that mean from your point of view for friction? I would imagine that adds quite a bit more friction.
That's right. Tire design is a trade-off, and in wet and snowy conditions, when you need more friction, you need to be prepared to give up some efficiency to get it.
Obviously, that's what this person decided to do on this Wrangler 4xe, which is a plug-in hybrid, but they went with big wheels, oversized tires. I mean, what do you guys think of this?
Well, it looks pretty cool, doesn't it? But this is not going to help rolling resistance or efficiency of this vehicle. Between the design of the tire with a big chunky tread blocks, a lot of tread depth to the tire, you can actually see this vehicle, the tires protrude away from the vehicle, which isn't going to help aerodynamically.
So this Solterra is actually mine. When I go to get tires for it, what should I be looking for?
Well, ideally, if you bought the OEM tire, you would get back the same combination of attributes that the manufacturer of the car wanted. But if you need a different driving situation, as Eric said, you may want to choose one of these other tires. If you're in a snowy area, perhaps that's a trade-off you need to be prepared for.
Great. Well, I got a lot of driving to do, but you've definitely given me a lot to think about when I need to get tires for it. So I appreciate you guys joining me today.
Thank you.
We've read more than our fair share of Porsche books over the years, but none quite like Porsche Decades by Jay Gelati. This must-read does a chronological walkthrough of Porsche history going all the way back to 1875, highlighting not just the brand's major automotive accomplishments, but mixing in plenty of family history along with many of the projects they've been involved with outside the sports car world. It would be the perfect textbook for your continuing Porsche education or a great gift for the Porsche fan in your life. From park to drive, we're shifting into this week's Quick Spin.
Two-tone paint jobs seem to be all the rage. Well, how about this four-tone color scheme found on the 2025 Ford Bronco Strop Edition? It's a mix of Code Orange and Oxford White, an Atlas Blue hardtop, and a glare-resistant matte black wrap on the hood and rear swing gate. These colors pay homage to Bill Strop, the man who built Baja Blastin' Broncos back in the 60s and 70s. This modern Strop backs up its legendary namesake with a standard Sasquatch pack, adding 35-inch rugged terrain tires mounted on 17-inch wheels, Haas 3.0 suspension with Fox internal bypass dampers, and plenty of bash plating for those high-speed desert sprints.
With that list of hardware, the Strop Edition is no doubt built for the desert or your nearest trail. But I'm happy to report, just like every other Sasquatchified Bronco we've tested at MotorWeek, the Strop Edition remains comfortable for the day-to-day on-pavement use. So, whether you're gonna rodeo it through town, your favorite back roads, or out on the highway, you should stay pretty comfortable and feel pretty planted. And in my opinion, you're also gonna look good doing it.
This Bronco is spurred by a standard 2.7-liter V6 and a 10-speed automatic, providing this 4x4 with plenty of giddy up, 330 horsepower, and 415 pound-feet of torque. Heated front saddles and reins are joined by a 12-inch screen. The white dash, red accents, and this unique plaque adds a tasteful nod to the steed's pedigree. If you're looking for a different breed of Bronco, a 2025 Strop Edition starts around a pricey $75,000. Only a two-door model for now, the Strop will return for 2026 as a four-door. And no matter how many doors, hit the road for another quick spin soon.
Back in the 90s, enthusiasts had quite the selection of sports cars of all stripes to choose from. But as it turned out, many of these, especially the Asian turbo-tuned imports, were on borrowed time. So join us for a look back at this fan-favorite track test of 4 intercooled Interceptors. While the 4 turbos that we picked are not the only premium Japanese sports cars, they are clearly the most endangered. The first intercooled animal on our list is also the most substantial. The Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4 is big, but compensates with a massive blend of power and technology. Output is 320 horses and 315 pound-feet of torque. And it all feeds through a drive line that includes a limited slip differential and full-time all-wheel drive. But despite all this heavy lifting, the VR4 still blasted to 60 in 5.7 seconds and romped through the quarter mile in 14.3 seconds at 100 miles per hour. Even though the VR4's base price of $45,580 isn't cheap, you clearly do get a lot of car for your money. A lot also describes our next brute, the Toyota Supra Turbo. Coming close behind the Mitsubishi in overall length, the Supra was also the most surprising, but not for engine output. It's identical to the VR4 at 320 horses and 315 pound-feet of torque. But here, the 3-liter 24-valve twin-turbo is an inline 6. Despite nearly 600 fewer pounds, it was edged out in the sprint to 60, posting a 5.8-second time. The quarter mile, however, was quicker, 14.1 seconds at 105 miles per hour, starting at $49,000. Slightly lower on the money scale comes the car that most folks know simply as the Z, the Nissan 300ZX Turbo. 96 is the final year for the Z car in America. And while it carries the requisite 3-liter twin-turbo V6, it packs only 300 horsepower and 283 pound-feet of torque. A disadvantage we found to be only on paper, as the Z blasted to 60 in 5.4 seconds and through the quarter mile in 13.8 seconds at 105 miles per hour, the quickest of our set yet, starting at 43,979. Our final plaything was the shortest, lightest, and most serious machine of the group, the Mazda RX-7. The RX-7 dispenses with most luxury doodads in favor of a more classic sports car approach. Until you look under the hood, that is, at the 1.3-liter twin-turbo twin-rotary engine, pumping out 255 horsepower and 213 pound-feet of torque. But just because it packs fewer horses doesn't mean it's slow. The RX rocketed to 60 in 5.4 seconds and down the full quarter mile in 13.9 seconds at 104 miles per hour. This street racer will set an enthusiast back $37,800, and to us, it's the bargain of the bunch. But if you lust for real automotive thrills, you can justify the price of any of our quartet of high-end Japanese turbo sports cars, a breed that is unfortunately being stamped out by insurance companies, exchange rates, and an aging population. Now we hope our predictions of doom are wrong, but until we're sure, we think it's a great excuse to keep on trying to tame these marvelous machines.
Our 2024 Subaru Solterra has been living the suburban life for 11 months now, and we've just engaged the 5th digit on its virtual odometer, spinning it past the 10,000-mile mark. The steering wheel's odd shape and high-mounted gauge pod did take some getting used to, but it's a thoughtful design, and the jet fighter vibe has you feeling ready for battle as you holster your coffee, hit the start button, and initiate Operation Morning Commute. Very quiet operation and a decent sound system provide support for the mission, and Subaru's hyper-vigilant safety systems will make sure you stay on task by warning you if it thinks you're not paying attention for even a second.
With eyes on the road where they're supposed to be, this Solterra offers great forward visibility. The side view is aided by a blind spot monitoring system, which is a great feature to have as standard. Although, like the Solterra's other safety systems, it might be a bit overprotective, as it warns us even when a passing car has made it through our blind spot. But I guess better safe than sorry, right?
Everything inside has a very rugged vibe to it, including the cargo space, though we do wish there was a bit more of it back here, as the 23.8 cubic feet does fill up rather quickly. As the weather's getting colder, our season with the Solterra is ending. But before we have one final update, we'll check in on another workhorse from our fleet, the Kia Carnival, on the next MotorWeek long-term road test update.
The Kia Sportage was the brand's first SUV and one of the first Kias to arrive here in the U.S. Well, much has changed since that mid-1990s debut, with the current Sportage now well into its 5th generation. And it looks like even more changes are in store for 2026.
The Sportage is Kia's best-selling vehicle, both worldwide and here in the U.S. So keeping it fresh is a great way to make sure it stays at the top of people's shopping lists. For 2026, that means new style, improved tech, and more features.
While its overall look hasn't changed a whole lot, it's been noticeably updated here in the front with a new bumper and revised LED headlights. And of course, we also have these amber daytime running lights that you'll find on all new Kias.
Similar new bumper and upgraded LED lighting in back, along with new 17, 18, and 19-inch wheel designs. Screen domination continues inside the Sportage, with standard touchscreen infotainment going from 8 inches to 12.3. And it blends in directly with the gauge display, all in the same housing stretching across the dash. SX Prestige gets a full TFT gauge panel.
It's pretty interesting what they've done with the console here. Hybrids get this dial-like gear selector instead of a shifter, and over here there's a little wing of controls that can include ventilated front seats. Over here on the steering wheel, we have a terrain mode button. Click it, and you get settings for things like snow, mud, and sand. And all all-wheel drive Sportages get that. Space in the rear seats is comparable to many midsize SUVs, and in this top-of-the-line SX Prestige, the outboard seats can bring the heat.
There's also a new 10-inch head-up display, which is just as good as you'll find in cars double the price. Safety still sells, and not only has Kia provided more driver assistance features as standard, Highway Drive Assist 2 is now available in the Sportage.
Cargo space is also really great, 34.5 cubic feet, and even more when the floor is lowered like this. You can fold the rear seats with this manual lever for a max capacity of up to 65.4 cubic feet.
Kia continues to give you plenty of options when it comes to powertrain. Strictly gas, hybrid, and even plug-in hybrid. We're rolling in the regular 1.6-liter i4 turbo-based hybrid, which is now available in more trims than before, with or without all-wheel drive. There's also more juice for 2026. With higher output from the electric motor, it's now rated at a combined 232 horsepower, an increase of 5 over last year, with an additional 13 pound-feet of torque at 271 pound-feet. It continues to work with a true 6-speed automatic transmission. To see how those numbers translate to real-world performance, we hit Mason-Dixon Dragway. The combination of an electric motor and all-wheel drive means the Sportage gets off the line pretty quickly. That electric boost does not last long though, as the engine fires up almost immediately. Still, it keeps things moving pretty fast. The shifts are smooth, although they're not particularly fast, though I am glad we have an actual geared transmission rather than a CVT. After hitting 60 in 7.5 seconds and getting a best quarter mile time of 15.5 seconds at 91 miles per hour, it was off to the handling course. There are no major updates to the suspension, so it feels familiar through the cones. There's a bit of understeer, though that's pretty typical for a vehicle like this. The rear end does bounce around a little bit. Still, it can be hustled through these gates with relative ease. The brakes felt solid, though the rear end tended to wander, as emergency stops came in at an average of 110 feet.
Despite minimal change from last year, the government fuel economy ratings for the hybrid with all-wheel drive are not quite as good as before. 35 city, 36 highway, and 35 combined, down from 38 across the board. We averaged a good 36 miles per gallon. That's a better than average rating for the Energy Impact Score, 8.5 barrels of annual oil use with 4.2 tons of CO2 emissions. Sportage pricing starts with LX at $30,135. Just $1,600 more will get you a front-wheel drive LX Hybrid. All remaining hybrid trims include all-wheel drive, working up to this top SX Prestige Hybrid, which begins at $41,835. Not all new, but entirely better, and certainly one of the best-looking compact utilities on the market, the 2026 Kia Sportage's new style and upgraded tech, along with its multiple powertrain options, will ensure that it remains a top contender in the all-important compact crossover segment.
Well, that's our show. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, for more MotorWeek, including daily news, updates, podcasts, and even complete episodes, cruise on over to pbs.org/MotorWeek. And I hope you'll join us next time. We'll find out if the Porsche Macan going EV is a positive move. And then it's top-down deliverance in the Ferrari Roma Spider. Till then, I'm John Davis. We'll see you right here on MotorWeek.
To learn more about MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine, visit pbs.org/MotorWeek.
The MotorWeek app, which includes our latest reviews and feature stories, is now available for mobile devices.
MotorWeek is proudly sponsored by Auto Value and Bumper to Bumper, a nationwide network of stores and shops providing major brand auto and truck parts and service from coast to coast and in your local community. Service is the difference. We get it. Learn more at autovalue.com and bumpertobumper.com.
We're Tire Rack. We test tires and share our results. We stock over 1 million tires. We offer multiple installation options. We do this because we believe tires matter. TireRack.com.
This program was produced by Maryland Public Television, which is solely responsible for its content.
You're watching PBS.